So like 5 days ago, I made a video talking about Ketel Marte to Boston, and I didn't see it as realistic at all. But then a lot changed this morning. The Red Sox began to resurface in the trade talks, and we have a sense of what the Diamondbacks are looking for. A report came out that not only right now do the Diamondbacks want Marcelo Meyer for Marte, but even dating back to the trade deadline, that's who they were looking for. And the Diamondbacks, they also had interest in Connolly Early for one of their pitchers that the Red Sox were trying to get, and ultimately those two sides couldn't come to an agreement. But in terms of Marte, absolutely, Meyer would have to be in that. That's what the D-backs are saying. They're also going to want some pitching prospects. The Red Sox have Peyton Tolley. They do have Early. I don't think they would trade Early for Marte. I think absolutely Tolley could be on the table. He is our number one prospect right now. But Marte, he's not just a normal second baseman. He's the best second baseman in baseball. I'm not going to bore you guys with the numbers, but he's a switch hitter. He's elite defensively. He had faster bat speed from the right-handed side than Aaron Judge. It kind of goes to show that, yeah, he's 32, whatever, but he still is playing the best baseball of his career. This is an MVP type of player. Like, he steps in a Fenway and they go from a wild card team that nobody really cares about to a legit World Series contender. Absolutely. Alonso or Bregman, one of them would have to come here as well. You could even argue that the Red Sox still kind of need a legit number two. I like Bayo. I don't know if I love Bayo as a number two. I mean, I will say, though, the Red Sox did go out and get Sonny Gray. As long as he could just stay healthy, I think he could complement Crochet, be that 1B to his 1A. But this video is about Marte, so we're going to talk about that. And specifically, we're going to talk about Marcelo Meyer, because I already made a whole video on Marte if you guys want to go check that out. But in terms of this video, we're talking about the asking price, which starts at Marcelo Meyer. And this doesn't mean that it's going to be Meyer, Peyton Tolley, like Brian Bale. Like, no, that is not realistic at all. I think you're probably looking at one of our top pitching prospects, Meyer, and then maybe like a mid-tier prospect to be able to get this done. Originally, I was thinking it would be Willie or Abreu, maybe even Bayo, and that's just way too much here. I don't think teams are going to offer that much for Marte. So for Marcelo Meyer, we'll talk about why the Red Sox should trade him, and then we'll talk about why they shouldn't. So let's start off with why they should trade him. So Meyer last season played in 44 games. That's kind of the biggest concern, is his inability to stay healthy. He's had multiple surgeries, of course, the last couple of the seasons, and I just don't trust him to be available for the Red Sox frequently enough. And that's the main thing. If Meyer, if you were to tell me right now that Meyer would stay healthy, I would not make this move. I'm gonna be honest, I would not, because I think Meyer has such absolute star potential with his ability to already as a rookie have a good glove. He's got insane pop potential. He can play second, he could play third, he could play short, he could play pretty much anywhere. And even though this doesn't really matter from a business standpoint, but yes, I mean, Roman Anthony, he's the profile picture of, he's the basically the logo of Red Sox Palace, and they're best friends, and I think that matters. Their chemistry, of course, growing up in the minor leagues and things like that. But in terms of Meyer, I mean, he can hit lefties. 154 against them. I thought he was rushed in personally. Remember, Bregman got hurt and they had to call up Meyer sooner than he expected. So you can't really hold that too much against him. But Meyer did not commit an error. He had +1 outs above average. So he's already a good fielder. He's young. I mean, how old is Meyer? 20. He's got to be 22. Yeah, he's 22 years old. Marte is currently 32. He turned 32 in October. So basically 2 months ago. That's a huge gap. You guys have to understand here that if the Red Sox get Marte, they come closer to a World Series. And if you want to win multiple World Series, then yeah, you keep Meyer and you try to build a dynasty. But how often does that really work in baseball? Usually teams go out there and they trade their prospects for these already established guys, and that's when they start to win. Like the Dodgers are full of stars. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez. They're full of stars that are either in their prime or like the back end of their prime. It's not just a bunch of 22-year-olds. Like that doesn't exist in baseball. At least to my knowledge, I can't remember that ever being a thing. So yeah, I mean, from a winning standpoint, this trade makes sense. If the Red Sox don't win a World Series in the next couple of years, and obviously they'll look back on this and they'll not be too high on it, but you got to give yourself a chance. You got to give yourself a chance here, and that's why I would go out and trade Meyer. But I can absolutely make a case, even though I'm completely for this trade. I mean, I have enough knowledge to be able to argue the other side of it, and we'll kind of do that here. So and it's gonna be very difficult because there's not many bad things about Ketel Marte, but give me like 5 seconds and I can find something. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the asking price. lots of pitching in exchange. Quote, lots of pitching. That's what the Diamondbacks are looking for. Now, we already know that they want Marcelo Meyer, but they're also going to want Peyton Tolley or Connolly Early. Maybe they want both. I don't know, right? I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but that's a huge asking price for a 32-year-old. Even though he's worth it, the second con is going to be injury concerns. Marte has appeared in over 140 games just 3 times. His sprint speed has declined. I think that's extremely nitpicking because does that matter? I mean, if he hits a ball into the gap and gets a double, I mean, like, does his sprint speed actually matter? So, again, like, there's very few things to kind of talk about. And that's actually it. Like, literally, there's so injury concerns, his sprint speed was down, and then he is 32 entering his age 32 season. Meyer is 22. And, I mean, again, 10 more years of Meyer, basically for a couple of years of Marte. I'd say, like, not a couple of years, but maybe like 4 or 5 years of Marte, assuming he just kind of stays in this window. And he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down either. So as you guys can see, there's many, many pros to this. Marte hitting, well, I would say Arizona's like a hitter-friendly park, but like Fenway's an extremely hitter-friendly park. So his numbers would go even up more than likely. And you still have Roman at the top of the order. And then you'd have Marte. And then, of course, I think they bring back Bregman if they did this. So I think it would be Story at short. Second base would be Marte. Third would be Bregman. And then first base, your guess is as good as mine. I guess Casas. The Red Sox fans aren't going to like that. I don't know how I feel about Alonso and Marte. I want Alonso more than I want Bregman. But I think just the veteran stability and the glove at third, all of a sudden you have an elite 3-punch right there, 3-headed dragon that I absolutely would love. In a perfect world, yeah, Alonso, Bregman, and Marte. But that's just not going to happen. It's only going to be 2 of these names, these big-time names here. And, I mean, the Red Sox could probably find a budget first baseman. Like, Nathaniel Lowe he's all right. I mean, he wasn't, like, the craziest, but, I mean, given that he was basically, like, for free, I mean, I think it was, like, a couple million to Red Sox. That's for free. Like, that's chump change at them. So, and, yeah, they could also just kind of platoon. I mean, they could have a first baseman hit righties and then have Casas hit against us. Sorry, the Casas could hit against righties, and they could have a platoon guy to hit against lefties. I mean, I know they did leave Casas in there against lefties, but we don't even know who Casas is going to be coming back. And I think that's overall that's the biggest fear that I have about trading for Marte is if you trade Meyer in the package. Well, the beauty of not doing that is Marte at second, third base you plug in Meyer, shortstop Story, and then first base Alonso. That would be perfect to me. If I could have anything I wanted for the Red Sox, it would be that. What I just said, but that's not going to happen because they're asking for Meyer. They asked for him at the trade deadline. They're asking for him now. So would I do this? It depends. I'd have to see the exact package, but I would trade Meyer for Marte. But in terms of like a bunch of top prospects with Meyer, absolutely not. You just can't do that. It's an overpay to this point because Bregman and Alonso are essentially free if you think of it from the Red Sox being like a $6 billion team. They just spend the money on those guys and then they keep all their prospects. And that's what I kind of want them to do. I want them to bring in Bregman, re-sign Bregman rather, and then bring in Alonso and then use those prospects to go get a Joe Ryan or to go get a Hunter Green. I know the asking price is going to be absurd, but I think the Red Sox would be the best team in baseball, or not baseball, Dodgers are still better than us, but I think the Red Sox would be the best team in the American League. I think they'd be better than the Yankees easily. I think they'd be better than the Blue Jays. If Bo Bichette goes back to Toronto and they already got a Dylan Cease, it's going to be tough. But, man, I mean, the Red Sox were already right there with the Yankees. They should have won game 2. Jarren Duran dropped a ball fell out of his mitt, right? I'm not only on Duran, obviously, but Roman didn't play. So the Red Sox, even without all that being said, were right there with the Yankees. They did beat Toronto, of course, towards the end of the season in a series. Not that it means that much because it's not the playoffs, but, like, I don't think the Red Sox are as far off as people think.